we were in an impossible battle. Chuck, we lost Chuck. Chuck was KIA. He was back in the base, just kind of like, fuck,
Oh, man, folks, it's a
Pepe
horrible
Tortilla
feeling.
was...
You feel like you've let everyone down, and you're back in the menu. It's like you want to spawn back in there, but you can't. Like, you're just, you end up spawning back at base and just kind of walking around in circles. Like, kicking the dirt.
I guess I should make a spyglass.
Welcome gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs, because here at the New Wave Gaming Podcast, we do not discriminate. I'm ChukTomahawk, and I'm here with my co-host, Ovox.
Hola, muy buenas tardes.
Yeah, down there south of the border. How's the weather down there, man? It has to be hot.
It's starting to warm up. Our summer is definitely beginning, but it's still nice. It's still nice out there.
Dude, I got beat down by the heat yesterday. The heat, it's over. I was able to get together with some of my family, and at our cabin, the heat, the air conditioning had gone out, like while I hadn't been there in a few days. And yeah, dude, it was like
if there's anything that's annoying, that's a pain in the ass, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Is when you've got a perfectly beautiful air conditioner right there, and it doesn't, like, and you feel it. You feel the wind, and it's like, oh, this fucker's broken.
Yeah, but
dude, that's the worst, especially when summer's just starting and all the air conditioning companies are like, booked.
Yeah, people start throwing out stuff like they do know what's wrong with it though. They're like, oh yeah, you got you're out of Freon. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It was a bummer, man. We did get to hang out for a really long time, and everything, but it was like 84 in there, and we were trying to go to sleep, and we called it. Like, we both had homes somewhere else we could go to, and like it made me wonder, like, what is the maximum temperature you can sleep at? Like, I feel like, yeah, there has to be a limit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point where you got to just be like, all right, I'll be out on the porch. Fuck the mosquitoes. Good luck in here. Yeah. Hey, and God, man, I'm not. I'm just thinking. You said that the sun was beating you down. That ain't the only thing that's been beating you down lately. Beating us down.
Yeah, man.
I've just about given up on bosses, dude.
Kind of what I wanted to talk about today is our latest experience in Ark. Because I feel like I'm a huge defender of the game, and I really try to always sort of give the benefit of the doubt and that kind of thing. But the more I've absorbed it, like, I'm pissed, and there has to be some kind of like recourse or something, because as I've seen, this glitch that we're running up against has been around for a while, and.
Well, why don't you just for some context? Why don't you tell our fellow gamers?
Yeah.
What happened and what the situation is? Just a brief.
Yeah, it seems like since some of our past content, we kind of covered how Ark evolved, got transferred from one gaming engine to another, and they called it Ark Ascended, and they're kind of slowly putting out these maps. And one thing that has been a consequence of the new porting over from the Unreal Engine 4 to the Unreal Engine 5 is the boss fights have been jacked up, like
among other fucking glitches.
Yeah, and a lot of people have experienced this because the first map that came out was the island. And in order to sort of advance in this game, like, one of the main purposes, like what you work towards, is to be able to ascend like that. To get greater and greater technologies, and to do that, you have to go through these boss fights. Mm-hmm. And in order to even participate in the boss fight, you have to collect some artifacts. You have to get some.
We've touched on that before.
You know,
for sure,
it's a process, and I'm not saying you couldn't like just shoot through it, but the casual gamer that also has another life going on, like it's weeks of work, days if not weeks of work that you've put into this to kind of lead up to a crescendo of sorts of doing this, and I feel like
like if I may interject real quick there, Chuck, you kind of touch on something that I think is I'm sure that it's out there in other games, but there is kind of like a unique setup to confronting the boss or a boss in this game in contrast with other games, like most bosses, it seems like you kind of get to a point in the game, in the storyline or in the development and the way the game evolves, you kind of just end up with this boss that you have to deal with, and the boss is just there, and it kind of revolves around, how good you are and learning the way and the techniques and the timing to beat that boss. I'm thinking of like things like the Souls games and everything, but the boss is there, right? And you either beat the boss or you don't. But in Ark, not to just rehash everything you just said, but there's like a process.
It's like an arena of
and you
sorts,
can't just
like an episode.
You can't just go back.
It's like part of the Hunger Games or something. It's like we've gathered everybody with all our dinos, and we teleport to another world and
to an arena. Where only the strongest shall survive.
Yeah, and all of a sudden a creature that's like pretty badass appears, and like. There's a lot of strategies. Like one of the things I've liked about these boss fights is there are a lot of ways to go about it. But yeah, to kind of stay in the context of our story here, we have been in this process now for a few months. Like we've played this game, and you don't immediately start working toward these boss fights. There's some other things, just like foundational things you have to get in place even to think about it. And you have to be a certain level even of I want to say you have to be level 80 or something to play the beta boss that we're playing, and that itself would take an enormous amount of time. And
especially on an official server.
That's what I was going to say. We're playing on boosted servers, so there are people that this could be 4 times worse.
I'm not trying to controllers will break.
Yeah.
There might be self-harm inflicted.
Well,
depending on no, I'm just playing.
I like how though, like one of the things that I'm mad about this whole fucking situation is there is no recourse. I mean, it's just kind of like, well, too bad. Whenever it doesn't go right, and yeah, there needs to be a number, even if like they lie to
like
me and tell me they're going to work, or. Like, they could spawn our stuff back. They could, here's a boss pass. Like, you go back in and fight again, or something like that. But
I feel your rage, man. But
yeah,
like they need to fix it. Like, okay, so hold on. Why don't you tell everyone what it is exactly that's happening? What is happening? Yeah. Yeah, because we haven't even mentioned that yet. Like,
okay, so like
what
like
is
we
this
said,
glitch?
There's a good bit of
when, who, what, when, where, and why.
A
lot
of things that have to get done to get to this point where you can even begin this fight, and so we're on the island, and we've finished the boss fights on another server, and we've came to, or actually another map. It's called Scorched Earth, and we've came to this to further increase the technology that we can get. It's the logical next step.
Yeah, because we need the transmit.
Yeah, that's the one.
There's a particular tech engram that we need.
Yeah, and so we get the stuff to do it, which is not without glitches itself. We've been very accepting of glitches to this point. There's actually one cave that like I tried to think about it like, well, let's just pretend like it's part of it, like my character's drunk or something, and schizophrenic decline, or just something, because it was buggy as crap.
Buggy.
Yeah, is
that a pun?
Yeah,
because I'm thinking of the small
bug
cave
in there, but the one I forget the name. It's like the artifact of the Sky Lord, I believe, that we had to go get. It's a cave on foot, and yeah, it's just for some reason you go in there, everything, it's kind of one step forward, two steps back, kind of feeling when you're moving everywhere in there. You know,
yeah, the FPS just drops, dude. It lags. It goes insane. I remember, I lost everything in that cave. I fell in one of the, endless pits, and that was it. And dude, I gotta commend you, man, because I remember, I don't know how in the hell, but you managed to get in there and get the artifact. You're like, oh, I think I can see.
Twice.
I can hear it. I don't know if I'm running or walking, but it's getting closer.
And how this is relevant to this story is that that's jacked up in and of itself. I should not have had to have dealt with that, but dealt with that no problem. Even thought like, I want these guys to do this. We need to go through this, and like, I'm going to get this, like, so we don't, and everybody doesn't just get pissed off in here, because it will piss you off.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So
when you have like, and I know this is like for anyone that doesn't play Ark, some of this may just seem like so unknown, like it is, but like when you go into these caves, you're going in like, usually you're going in prepared, right? So you have a bunch of shit on you that's probably of a bit of value. It's taken work and resources to get those tools. Shotguns, grapples, pikes, swords, all this, cryopods with tames in them that you've bred and imprinted that take time. And so when you, because of a game glitch, like all of a sudden slingshot rubber band into an endless pit where you die immediately, and there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You get a little pissed.
Yeah. And even if you are going to do something, you got to go back in there to do it, like in that same jacked up environment, and you're just like, I should probably cut my losses and just, but
it's like, but then I can't do the boss fight.
Right. So we rode right through all that, no problem. Like, it's just Ark. It Ark you, didn't it?
He's just Ark, pass me that razor blade.
Yeah, and I feel like each player like has a little bit, the Ark's got its hooks in me pretty deep, so like I can put up with a lot, but we're trying to get like other people involved, like Pepe Tortilla and stuff, and I think he loves it too, but like maybe his willingness to put up with that is a little less, so like
a lot less.
Yeah, and you almost feel like Ark's ambassador at that point, being like, oh, come on, man, like it's really okay. He's not a bad guy. Ark's not a bad, buddy. Like,
and at the same time, we're looking over at Wildcard, going, "You guys are really making this hard for me." It's really complicated when you're pulling this kind of shit.
Yeah. But you persevere through that, and now you're at the boss fight, and in and of itself is a hassle just to get it all. Again, set up. We have like a lot of resources involved in it. Like 20 of our dinosaurs are involved in it. Like
with saddles that were painstakingly difficult to craft.
Yeah, like shotguns, like 700, like super hyped up shotguns where we like transformed our character back into a crafting character and special crafted them and like collected all this polymer that took forever to get and. So
damn,
there you are.
Did put hours into that.
Yeah, like
you put hours into the polymer.
You're going to get obsidian and cementing paste and mixing them, crafting them together in something that, takes about a second for each one, and we needed like 33,000 of them, like. And it was like,
yeah.
It's crafted.
Yeah, you put it on the fabricator and it just starts processing everything. And that's the sound it makes, right? When it crafts one polymer.
Yeah, I was actually.
You're just sitting there mindlessly watching
being
the
generous,
fabricator.
like it's how fast it is. It's more like.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're just like. Counting that down and building those shotguns.
All right. And then you got to go craft a bunch of veggie cakes.
Yeah.
So that your tames, like, because in this particular case, we had to use a particular dino that's a herbivore. And, that's a long story. But anyways, you make this special, like, there's just a lot to it,
A lot of
right?
research that has to be done just to have a scratch the surface knowledge of, what dinosaurs are going to be the best and that sort of thing. And so we've gone through this twice where we go into this boss fight against what's called the dragon. And it turns out, like, we've shown up with 30, or actually 20 dinosaurs. It's me, Ovox, and Pepe Tortilla. We're ready to fight it. We've gotten all this equipment together. We punch it in. We teleport into the other world. 30.
Oh, it's so exciting, dude, when you're on the pad and you're just like, oh, here we go, boys. Fucking. All right. As soon as we get in, eat your Kalian soup, find your tame, get on your tame, whistle, and let's go. Let's go.
It's really what gaming's all about. Like, that heart rate's up. I mean, it's like, you're like, yeah.
Heart rate's up, dude. Yeah. Fucking nipples are hard. Wait, or is that just me?
I'm going to perform. Like,
fuck, let's fuck this boss up.
And, like, it's like, I don't see him. I've watched some videos. So let's go over here. Let's go over here. Let's get ourselves, like, in a good position. And, like, I'm standing over there on my dinosaur, like, kind of looking around. It's like, well, I don't see him. I don't see him either. And then, like,
there's nowhere to be seen.
Me and my dinosaur burst into flames. Is it like
spontaneously
a burning bush
combust
or something? Like
there's a burning
Lord
bush.
Has
Biblical.
It's I'm on fire. Hey, whoa. And yeah. It's like, yeah. Is he invisible?
When you said that, I decided, okay, whistle aggressive. And when you whistle aggressive, all of your tames in the vicinity of the whistle immediately proactively attack any enemy creatures in the area.
Yeah.
So you were right.
So somehow, like, it wasn't invisible to our creatures, but it also, like, caused about 16 dinosaurs to surround me, and then they all caught on fire. As it, like, like a Salem witch trial or something. Like, I was just like, this isn't good. Like,
this is not good. This isn't anything like in the YouTube video.
I was gonna yell like I'm the Yudi. I'm like cheering these. Like, yeah, it's like my job in this was not to really fight. I'm literally like a cheerleader. Is like my dinosaur's role. Like, he gets everyone else hyped up. I'm like a hype man running around. Like,
yeah. So real quick, just for the listeners, in case you don't play Ark, there's a particular dinosaur in the game that it's called a Uranus or something like that. I think it's one of the tames that actually, like, really did exist. Back in the dinosaur days. But anyways, he has this particular ability that he basically just, like, does this roaring scream, and it basically just fucking hypes up all the tames that are around it. Like, any of your tames kind of just get like, oh fuck yeah, from him, and then they go in and start fucking shit.
There's like a little circle appears above their head. It's like, yeah, and they start glowing. They're like, yeah, we feel it. Let's do it.
It's basically like when a Saiyan goes to Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
They just start.
And simultaneously, he scares the other side. Like I question this now that I know there's 2 roars that he does. So like I said, we've mentioned this is a really deep game, to know all of it. I wonder if that happens, but in the wild, when you're going up against this dino out there trying to tame him, when he's not on your side, like, he actually does that roar and it scares your personal dinosaur, like, to the point he goes out of control. Even, like, dragons are afraid of these things, and their size is about, like, between a raptor and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. If you guys can kind of remember from Jurassic Park or something, if you haven't seen dinosaurs, they're a pretty large dinosaur, like, enough that it they're kind of woolly.
I'd say they're
like,
medium
like
large.
They're like cold terrain possibly, but really cool dinosaur, but also very flammable.
Dude, you lit up like a fucking marshmallow in a fucking campfire, dude. I remember seeing you in all the there.
I was like, yeah, damn.
You look like a match, dude. And then all of a sudden you were gone, dude. You just fucking evaporated.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know how when you're in game and you kill a creature with a tame, and then if you bite him again, he'll just kind of go and disappear.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like you just like
I saw you just like
yeah.
you were on fire, and then you just went into the. And then all of a sudden on the top of the screen it said Chuck T level 120 has been killed. I was like, fuck.
Oh man.
Tortilla, we lost Chuck.
No. Yeah. Like seconds into it, like we're probably into like a 30. It's going to be 30 minutes at the longest, and probably 15 minutes at the shortest type fight. And probably 2 minutes into it, I'm gone. Like me and my Uranus, all that stuff we've talked about that we had built, everything is like just lying in a backpack there on the ground, and there's this foe that was going to be hard to fight even visibly is now invisible. And also like it's not working like it should. Like his like health bar and some vital information
Like they weren't even there.
Yeah, it's not really working. Like you can tell like glitches are kind of afoot. And luckily the first time like you figured out a way to somehow at least save our dinosaurs, like by
and I don't know, I almost feel like that was a glitch, dude, because the second time it didn't work out.
It surprised me. But yeah,
what happened was we were in an impossible battle. Chuck, we lost Chuck. Chuck was KIA. He was back in the base, just kind of like, fuck,
Oh man, folks, it's a
Pepe
horrible
Tortilla
feeling.
was
Like you feel like you've let everyone down, and you're back in the menu. It's like you want to spawn back in there, but you can't. Like you're just you end up spawning back at base and just kind of walking around in circles, like kicking the dirt.
I guess I should make a spyglass.
Little bit of crystal, right? Yeah, you're like, fuck. Like,
but what happened there? Just real quick, just for the fellow gamers and listeners, I'm not sure what is supposed to happen anymore. Because the first time we lost the boss fight on Scorched Earth, we lost everything. Right? It was basically once you go into the boss fight, at least that one, it left us with the idea that you either have to win or you have to win. Because even if the time runs out and you haven't died or you lost nothing, which is what happened.
You still lose your dinos and all your shit.
Yeah. Like everything. Yeah, you still lose everything. At least that's what happened to us on Scorched Earth. So we were like, okay, well, and we eventually persevered and we won every difficulty of the Scorched Earth boss, which only unlocks a certain set of tech engrams, which is what Chuck was talking about, technology that you can get in the game. But every boss gives you a different, sometimes mixed, sometimes equal set of tech, but we want the transmitter. So we needed to go to the only boss at the difficulty level that can get you the transmitter, and that is the dragon. So this foe that we've been describing this whole time is basically like imagine like a dragon. It is a dragon. It's called the dragon. And to get the transmitter, you have to beat him at beta, which is medium difficulty. So that's what we've been trying to do. So we get there and we finally get all the stuff. This whole process we've been describing, we get in there, all the excitement's full, and the damn thing's invisible. But what was also another glitch is that it seemed like once because we were able to get hits on him. Like all this was happening. We did lose Chuck, but
see him.
Yeah, but like when I whistled aggressive, they went and they attacked him. Like we could see the hit numbers, but we couldn't see the health bar or the dragon itself. Pepe Tortilla was getting in there, getting some good shots in. I was shotgunning from the back of a Daedon because my job was to kind of like help keep everyone with their health up. And then eventually, it was if the dragon disappeared even more.
Yeah.
Because he just wasn't there anymore, in the sense that we weren't getting attacked by anything. It just all of a sudden the boss arena went quiet.
Like he was outside of the arena or something all of a sudden.
Dude, he just was completely gone. Like. Yeah. Whatever that may mean at this point, considering he was invisible in the first place. But what happened was there was still like 10 minutes left. So I'm like, okay, well, Pepe Tortilla died. ChukTomahawk's gone. We lost the Yudi. We lost one.
I think Pepe, like his bar was like he doesn't have Ark syndrome like we have. So I think his bar was hit, and he said, I'm good.
Yeah, that's right. He just took his own life. He committed lava suicide. Remember you were talking about like his patience level with Ark is a lot lower than ours.
He said, "Fuck this."
But you know what? On that note, I'm glad I stayed.
Yeah,
I'm glad I didn't just say fuck it, because I'm like no. So what I did was there was still 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm obviously not getting attacked by anything, so I jumped off the tame and I went to every single loot bag or backpack, because whenever you kill a tame or a person, if there was anything in his inventory, there'll be a backpack there. So I went to every single backpack. I went to Chuck's backpack, his Yudi, and I basically got all their stuff back. Yeah, I had it on my inventory. So in effect, they, as long as I could get back to the base somehow, which I hadn't figured out at that point, we would get our stuff back. Mm-hmm. And I immediately started cryoing all of the tames that hadn't died yet that we were using to fight the boss, which in this case they're these tames called Therizinosaurus, or Therizinosaurs or whatever, but they're really cool. Mm-hmm. The chicken ticklers.
That's right.
Tickle chickens.
Yeah, they get like Edward Scissorhand hands, like essentially.
Badass tames, man. Yeah. Anyways, so long story short, I got everything back onto my inventory, onto my body, and then I basically just like closed the game. Right, I didn't leave. I logged out. I did a hard log out right from the boss arena, and then I logged right back in, and it was weird. I spawned back into the boss fight, but there was only like 6 seconds left or something. It was really strange. It went from like 8 minutes down to 6 seconds in maybe a minute time frame, and it was weird. I spawned back in. There was like 6 or 10 seconds left, whatever it was, and then it just went and it transported me back to the obelisk where we started, and I had all my stuff on me. I had all of our stuff. So it was like, the hit wasn't as hard.
It was still frustrating.
It was still frustrating.
Yeah, and it you still had all the artifacts were gone, all the tribute was gone, but
the hours were invested.
I think Pepe had picked up my stuff, and then you'd gotten his stuff, and so yeah, you kind of had everybody's stuff, and we were kind of whole again, pretty much, other than some things that could be fairly easily replaced, and so yeah, you're like, well, crap, like. Well, we got Ark there again, and just sort of take that one and deal with it. And, I think everybody was a little disenchanted for a little bit, but, we kind of kept on going. And I would say within a week or maybe 10 days or so, we were ready to do it again. Like we had everything back, and, we were just kind of, we were probably ready in a week, and we just sort of were looking for the day that, we all could be on together and had time to do it. And, I'd started researching it and got online and saw that this is a pretty common glitch. And some people were saying you do, a few things different. One is kind of how you enter the boss fight. You have a couple choices between what's called an obelisk and just sort of what's a surface drop. And we kind of, thought that might help. And I'd also read, some, tiny thing like these skins you can use maybe cause it. And, we just double checked, those kind of things. And, just surely this won't
Round 2
happen to us again. And
hey, at least we had, it happened again. But at least this time we went in with we were cognizant of the possibility of it happening, and it did. And we rolled with it.
Yeah.
But to our ultimate annihilation.
Yeah, because I will say I have continued to research it, and there have been people, especially on gamma difficulty, if it's invincible, like they still have won, like they've been able to kill it. Like apparently, it was behaving a lot like ours, and there's also a lot of talk about it sort of spawning outside of the arena altogether, like they never interact with it, like kind of like is something I've heard, and the only real. Apparently this has been going on pretty much since the map came out, and
yeah, but so many people have a transmitter. Maybe they've been getting it a different way on our cluster. I'm sorry, But you're right. Yeah. So
and
it's been going on.
I've saw that like one of the difficulties that Ark is having, like Wildcard and the folks that are working on this are having with fixing it, is they're having a hard time recreating it. And we seem to be really good at that. Like whatever we're doing is the formula for that, I think. But like, you can sort of understand like how in the beginning you were kind of giving an analogy of another video game bosses, and it, like you never hear of the Elden Ring bosses glitching or whatever, and it's almost like they're more of a in a role-playing game, like they're just part of the game. If the boss isn't working, the game isn't working. And I think one of the unique things about the Ark is that a lot of players play the game and don't do the boss fights. They might be thinking they're going to get around to it and stuff, but it takes some know-how and time to do it. And I think that's one thing. But dude, if you're going to
I think with it takes time to learn those Elden Ring bosses and learn how to defeat them. There's definitely time and strategy to that for sure. I think any Elden Ring player would definitely argue, but I think it's just in its own essence a different type of game that it doesn't run the way Ark does. It's a completely different type of dynamic going on there. We've got online servers. Like while we're trying to do a boss fight, there's also 20 other people on the map.
That's true.
Just causing all sorts of lag, doing different stuff. Not that we don't. We're causing lag when we're doing the boss fight. And
yeah, it's almost
it's just different.
That kind of game being interjected into our game, like sort of for a second, and you could see how that would be difficult, and you could also see how if there were issues that were affecting all players, like if there's 20 people on the server and only 3 of them are doing the boss fight, like you probably want to fix those other glitches first. But like I say, the consequences and just the dishearteningness, like where to me it seems like there has to be some sort of like recourse. Like I could put in a ticket.
There ain't,
dog. A ticket, and
with who?
The Lord, man. I don't know. Somebody. I need help.
He's just going to write back and tell us to get off video games.
This is an injustice.
Because, we go to our Discord and their rules are clear. They're not going to replace it. And I actually put in a report on our Discord just to let them know, not really to say, hey, this happened and we lost this stuff. And I know we can grind it. We're not those kinds of players, but I did write it in just to let them know, and they got back right away saying, that they know it's not something that they can fix. It's a wild card thing, and that hopefully it'll get patched soon. But in the meantime, they literally said just try to stay away from that one. I was like, yeah. In the meantime, we're fucked.
Well.
At least with the transmitter. We're not going to be able to get the transmitter. At least, maybe we can write in the Discord and see if there's some way that they can force unlock that engram for us. Or maybe we can buy it, that engram. Maybe we can see if the admins can do that in some way. I'm not sure if that's possible. But as far as I know, the only boss right now that we have available to us, because we still have maps coming out, they haven't come out yet, we basically have the island, we have Scorched Earth, and we have the center. Those are the only 3 maps we have right now, and there's only so many bosses. And the only one out of all of those maps with a boss that can give us the transmitter, I believe, I'm 95% sure about this, is the dragon on the island at beta difficulty or higher. So basically, we have to beat the dragon at beta or alpha difficulty to get the transmitter. Unless there's some other way that I'm not aware of.
I tried to research that, and the one I did see in a Reddit post, someone said the only dragon boss fight that was working was on a Mesa, which is a mod map, and
I heard about that.
Does that have a boss fight on it? Could it?
Dude, I don't. Dude, they said something about that in the Discord, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest with everyone out there. I don't know what that Amisa thing is, dude. I've seen it on our list though. I don't know if it's like a special map that we have to pay for to be part of, or I don't know.
I think we get it for free. I think it's just a mod map. Maybe you have to pay for that mod. I don't know, but I feel like I went to one of those maps. There's a couple maps on there that are mod maps, and I went to one of them and didn't pay anything else. So,
Dude, you boldly go to a lot of places. I'll check her out.
yeah. Well, I want to say the other one you couldn't use flyers or something, but I've heard on that Amissa it has its own type of wyvern. Even I'm not sure if it's tameable, but what did they call it?
I love wyverns.
Yeah, except that dragon, that invisible dragon. Dude,
Yeah, so I mean that's really watch out for that one, fellow Ark players.
That takes 20% of your max health every time it hits you. Which I don't know. I'm not sure I can handle the math you need to do to like. I mean, it's like if you have 30,000.
Well, 20%. That means if you get hit 5 times.
If your health was 100 and it takes 20 every time.
Yeah, if we're talking percentages, right? There's only 100%, and if it takes 20% of your health, I mean that's 5 fireballs, and you got it. You're starting to see the light.
Oh
yeah.
Oh no!
You start to hear harps.
Hug.
Harps and violins start coming in the background music. Like, oh, I never heard that song.
To heaven. Yeah. I took one of the, in that second time. I was in my, I had my menu up and I was force feeding, my Yudi to kind of heal him, and took one of those heated, like hot fireballs, like just right on me. You can't. Like, you just couldn't be in both places at the same time, really. But
damn.
So
yeah, well, dude, I had a view and a half of when you got fireball, dude. It was kind of funny in retrospect.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry for laughing because
you did chime in with like, you can dodge those, like.
Well, you can if you're not in your menu.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea. But see, that's where I learned a big lesson too, is that I need to go in there with a Daedon that has a lot higher food count so that you shouldn't have to do that on the Yudi. I should be able to be there and heal you with L2.
Yeah.
And I was failing there. So if anything, I'll take the blame for that because I wasn't really performing well on the Daedon. But let me tell you the story. The view was insane. Especially with the PS5 graphics, dude. Yeah. You really did look like a fireball. Because I was on the back of the Daedon, not doing my job with my shotgun out, just freaking unleashing. I'm shooting. I don't know what I'm shooting, but it's hurting something. When I can see the hit markers, shit's invisible, but I can see it. And then all of a sudden, with a really nice, how when you increase the aspect ratio, I think it is, on a camera, and there's what you're looking at's nice and clear, but everything behind it's kind of a slight blur, So I'm looking at this invisibleness up there, and I'm shooting, and then I can just see a slightly blurred Chuck on his tame in the background just go, he's like roaring, and then it just goes. And the screen just starts getting bright. You can see the flickering from the flames. And his character just disappears. Yeah. It's like getting vaporized, dude.
Oh, and even though I'm in the menu, like even in that other situation, it's like your character is still there, kind of behind it, and he's on fire so much you can see the light like behind the menu, and you're like, whoa.
This is not ideal. No. Hell, I'd rather be back in the water cave at this point.
You're just like, man, come on. Like it just yeah. And it is crazy that so many people do have that transmitter, because they're unless there's just some other reasonably sensible way, but.
That's why I'm wondering if it's something that we can get through the Discord, or have the admins unlock for us, or we can purchase in some way, shape, or form via the admins in the admin store. Well, we can check that out. In fact, fellow Ark players out there, if you know how we might be able to get the transmitter, or if there's a boss that's available right now that we're missing, But yeah, besides the dragon, please hit us up. Hit us up on social media or via email.
Yeah, something that can
reach
be done
out because we need that transmitter.
And I guess the other thing, is like, where do we go from here? Like how, like I've logged in a few times and I'm kind of getting, some stuff together, but
we're already on the center, dude. When you signed out the other night, Pepe Tortilla and I kept going, and we're like, so look, the survival goes on. Let's go to the center. And we immediately, like, in fact, if you signed in right now, you wouldn't see us anywhere on the island because we're over on the center.
I see. Well, and the boss fight on the center can't give us the transmitter.
No, but it is only one boss, though. It's not only one boss, but it's only one boss arena. So it's kind of like Scorched Earth. We can knock it out. Mm-hmm. Just go over there. Let's start working on our Rexes, working on our Tames. Pick the strategy, do the research. We're going to have to do a lot of footwork, getting all the tribute, all the artifacts, and we might as well just go for the alpha and get that one knocked out, and then we can go back to the island and suffer.
And we got to mention this happened to us on Aberration as well. Back on Survival, on just Survival Evolved, we had a boss fight glitch that ate up all our stuff.
Oh, I remember that. That was way more
that was a game ender.
Heartbreaking. That was way more heartbreaking because the game just crashed. We didn't even have a chance to fight. It was just crashing.
I remember too. Like I had gone into that boss fight with just a bunch of random, like just my, how I walk around with a full inventory, Captain Caveman style all the time, and like I remember I had like just lost dinos and weird shit that I shouldn't have had on me.
Yeah.
It was just like,
you do always have a bunch of random shit on you, dude. I'm always very confident that if we ever need some random thing, you're going to have it.
You don't remember the Captain Caveman cartoon? He always pulled stuff out of his...
out of his beard.
Bunga, bunga.
Yeah. Dude, that's an old fuck.
Yeah.
We're real young. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that is where we go from here. We go to the center. But I'm a little jaded, dude. It just... It's not fair. It just... There has to be some kind of recourse or something like... how hard would it be for, even if the admins are like, it's like, it's not something they can fix. Like they could, give us something back, like some, our shotguns. I'd take that.
Hit them up.
Hit them up. What's up? Where's my shotgun?
They're going to shoot you down.
Goosh. Go be.
They're going to be like, read Rule 5. I'm just kidding. It's not Rule 5, but it's on there.
I did. I read the when you go to put in a ticket, it tells you what they can and cannot do. And one of the things it says that's not going to happen is the only thing it's going to make me feel whole again.
It basically says go pound sand, but with nicer words.
Yeah. And so like, what is an appropriate amount of, that, like how much?
No, I don't blame our cluster. I mean, that's a totally fair rule to me. Because imagine, dude, we know Ark. If they had to replace everything that got arked, that went missing or lost or glitched or stuck or disappeared or looted or whatever,
Just boss fights though, like how many boss fights are going down per day? Like I know on like some of we've played on servers in the past where you could just go to a surface drop and pick up all the artifacts and all the tribute you needed, and you'd be jumping in and out of boss fights on the reg, but like,
oh yeah, I remember that, dude. That was nice.
That's a hot drop right there, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good
look at that. I actually remember once back in those days where I said, all right, well, let's start getting the shit for a boss fight. And you're like, I already got it on my Archer.
Yeah, it's like, poosh. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I got that at a blue drop. I'm done. And now, dude, getting a drop is like pulling a teeth, man, if you want to, for it to have anything good on it.
Oh, my God. That's ridiculous, too. Like even, I will say, like, the drops in the cave usually are fairly decent, but they're also at times just jacked up. Like where you're just like,
there'll be like, there'll be like a decent pre-crafted something and then like 2 arrows. You're just like, what? 2 arrows?
Yeah, I'm playing on scorched earth, and it's like a decent fur hat and some arrows, and it's like, I'll need that. This will be good in the desert. Okay, all right. I see how you. I see what you did here.
Yeah, it looks like beaver pelt. Jeez.
Yeah, this hat will literally
Very
kill
helpful.
me.
Yeah, let me put this on during the heat wave while I'm fighting a death worm. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
It hurt. I'm hurt to the core. Like it just, like I say, I felt bad just, like I said, just trying to defend this game. And it kind of blows my mind what I'm willing to put up with from it, because I picked up, there a second ago and looked, it was kind of like, what am I going? I need to play some video games maybe. And, it's almost like this game sucks me in so hard. I kind of go away from everything else. Like I don't have a lot of other games going on at any time and any one time, I guess. And it feels like a void, sort of.
Damn, dude. Well,
pain.
You got to get in. You got to like complement your survival gaming with some like single player fun. Just something simple, dude. Something simple, something you can just kind of just get some,
Yeah.
A little bit, you gotta, sometimes it's good to get off that extra sharp cheddar and go with a little bit of, some Manchego or a little bit of Monterey Jack. You gotta switch it up.
A little smoked Gouda.
Cheese is, lots of types of cheese is good. Just like lots of types of games.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both survival game, fanatics for sure, but I've been getting into that Ghost of Tsushima, been getting into that Sifu, which is fun. It's kind of a fun, simple game. I mentioned Tunic before, has been pretty fun. Just even if it's just for a quick sesh, just switch it up a little bit. Because it does actually, absence makes the heart grow fonder, even with Ark. Right?
Yeah. Well, so do you have like a little bit of a grasp of when we'll get another map that might pull us out of this?
I think they announced, hold on one second. Sorry about that. I think they announced September 4th for Aberration.
Okay.
I think. You have to double check me on that. But yeah, I saw something about it coming out around September 4th, I think. But I might be wrong.
Wow.
And, we love Aberration. I bet it's going to look amazing. And I also know that they announced, or they're going to announce if they haven't already, that, the Unreal Engine 5 is going to have a huge update, I think. And then with that, Ark is going to update as well. And that'll bring a whole bunch of performance enhancements to the game. It'll optimize it. Mm-hmm. I hope it's a capital O on that optimization. Maybe the dragon will actually appear and we can actually fight it as it's intended to be fought, and we can slay it and off with its head and mount that trophy on our wall.
I saw they're going to have like mounts for dino mounts, like trophy mount wall mounts in a video earlier today I was watching. How we can,
instead of the ground ones, like up on the.
Right, and you know how we can mount that one like alpha dragon head or something like that. Like apparently you can be able to do it for all dinos, sort of.
Okay, yeah.
They had a Carno up there.
Because you can do that with the trophy mounts, but on the ground.
Yeah, where it's the
Remember,
whole.
You just gotta skin them. You just gotta taxidermy. Then there's like a taxidermy tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the wall, that'd be dope.
Well,
yeah, man.
Well, so how would it look if you think we'll ever go back to PvP?
Man, I have no doubt that we will, but I don't know when. I don't know when that would be, because PvP is just, man.
We need allies. We might have to get back with Mickey Soros there, and we really need more people to be on. Consistently.
Yeah, because you remember, especially on Ark, dude, that's a nightly anxiety.
Dude, I've been watching some stream that like there's a few TikTok streamers doing Ark, and I don't know them really by name, but like they mostly do PvP, and there's a sadisticness to it, like, you know, that just, I'm not sure it's good.
You got it in you, Chuck. Can you be that kind of a Chuck Tomahawk?
You know, like I was sitting there watching this morning, this guy was just like killing, the guy's dinos. Like, it took me a minute to figure out what was going on. You know, I was like, why is he killing his own tames? And then I was like, those aren't his tames. And then I was like, oh man, and it just methodically, like a whole yard full of them, you know, just with the wing on a bat. He was sickle chopping them all down, and I'm just like,
damn,
you gotta be like kind of mad, like, or just
a little fucked up.
I feel like I want to play PvP where it has to be, you know, there is no offline rating, because that seems to be like most of the streamers I'm watching. It is usually offline rating that they're doing, but the best ones are when, you know, it's really somebody defending it, you know. And
oh yeah, dude, like that time when, oh dude, we've had some good, we don't need to get into that right now, but because we're almost out of time, dude. This podcast flew by.
Dude, it was on Aberration where we kind of did PvP last, and
yeah, and had a good time.
And see, that's kind of,
and you know what's cool is they couldn't beat us while we were on. They had to come back when we were offline. Those fucking pussies,
That's
dude.
true. That's true. But man, they were relentless. I never saw their base, but it sounded like it was not raidable. But I wonder if Aberration, when it comes out, will be no flyers, and because that makes it easier to be PvP. I think. You know.
Yeah.
Get a nice rock drake and climb up there. Our little hide.
No, they're gonna have flyers because they did last time.
They might delay it.
Played.
They might delay it though.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. That'll be soon, man. It'll be here in no time.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got to get over this somehow though. But it hurt. It hurts when I think about it. I started to go get we really only need one artifact, because let's also mention that somehow like it just glitched, and one of our artifacts changed into another one, like right in front of us.
That's our theory.
It seems almost like it had to go that way. Like after I went back, like you know, now that I look at it and I'm trying to get them again, you know, when we're
dude, if you were being accused of capital murder and the prosecution came out and said, well, it just seems like it has to be that way. No, that's our theory, because we didn't actually see it. But yeah, that's what, and I'm with you.
Bullshit.
I'm with you because we know we had that artifact.
Yes,
we know we had it, and it just literally fucking was gone, and all of a sudden we had two artifacts
of another one, yeah,
of one that we only had one of, and then all of a sudden we had two of them. It was like, well, that's fucking weird.
Yeah,
and I remember that we got the one that
we distinctly
all of a sudden disappeared because
it was getting it.
Yeah, and I remember freaking like Pepe was so frustrated he just freaking he called it. He didn't even say goodbye, dude. He just fucking hung up the damn phone on that session.
I know. I honestly, I don't blame him, man. Like it because that's something we should mention is like we took that experience the first time we lost, and we immediately like go back in. Like one of the most frustrating, like the second most frustrating thing is those artifact caves. Like, you know, it's like, well, let's just get right back in there, and like, you know, it's like we trust it not to shit on us, and it does, and it shits on us over and over again, and we're like, oh no, maybe it'll work this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does shit on us, but then it'll fucking, you know, then it'll slide down a dish of filet mignon, dude, with some steamed veggies, and it's just so yummy. You know, that's a metaphor, of course, but that game is just so much fun sometimes, and then it'll just it'll shit on you. It'll fully eject on you, dude.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be easy to put something in there. Just something. Like, give me something. Give me a couple, like, I don't know, like some candy. I don't know. Let me color my dinosaur. Like, let me choose a color of my choosing, anything. Like, that I could point to say, you know, well, this will be okay. But
yeah. Well, if you find anyone that's willing to gamble with you, let me know. I think we're just going to have to keep on surviving, Chuck. But
I used to tell
we
people.
should wrap it up, man. I think my neighbor's about to start drilling into the wall again. I can hear him. You hear that knocking on the?
Great day.
He went
Where's
away,
he
but
going
he was
over
in the-
there? Is he?
They're I think I'm gonna have new neighbors soon. So they're in their paint. Like the one neighbor left and another one's moving in. So
He's making it happen over there.
yeah, I'm glad he stopped drilling, dude. Right before we jumped on the mic, he was going at it hard.
Nice.
Just right into the wall, and you know things here are all concrete, right? You know it's all cement. And concrete. Yeah, dude, like, oh man, my bar's shaking. Oh, a la bestia, loco. No.
Nice. Well, yeah, man. It
Hey,
lick my wounds and move on, I guess.
yeah, you might just want to grab an Ark Band-Aid. No, but I feel you, man. I feel you, but I mean, no. What can I say? No one's gonna hook us up, you know. And with wild, like if we were to address it directly with Wildcard, I'm not sure what they, you know, because we're on a private server.
I'm not gonna lie. I did read about somebody that had that happen to him on official, and they went direct to whoever, and they got some shit. Like they
Oh yeah. No. If we were on official, yeah. But we're not. I don't doubt that they would actually like respond, because so much so that I can actually speak from experience once where I had a issue on official servers, and I put in an official ticket on survivetheark.com or whatever, and they got back to me promptly and made me whole again, if you will.
yeah.
You know. So no, yeah, they will. But you know, in this case, I think you're just going to have to lick those wounds, drink a tall glass of water, pound an ibuprofen, maybe take a bong rip, and just be like, you know what?
Yeah.
You know. Oh, well. Because it'll get fixed, man, but I feel you. In the meantime, we just have to shift our Ark adventures in a different direction. And I think that direction is the center.
I'm thinking PlayStation 5 across the knee is what I'm thinking.
Thinking, fuck this shit.
I've been wanting the PlayStation Slims anyway, this fat motherfucker.
Dude, let's what we should do is we should start working on the center a little bit, getting a base built there, something fun. You know, run the caves, explore the new locations, because there are new locations on that map. We can maybe let's start having fun with the tech engrams that we have unlocked. We can use the element that we do have and make use of it, have fun with it, maybe create some teleporters so we can teleport across the map to strategic locations. Oh, yeah, we'd have to see how that would work because of the server settings that we got. But, you know, let's experiment a little bit. Yeah?
All right.
Well, hey, before I forget, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Chuck, what episode is this?
69.
No way.
No. I'm going to say...
I think it's 52.
52, yep.
Or is it might be 52 or 53. We're glad you're here tuning in. If you have any like advice on this whole like Ark boss thing and how we can get a transmitter engram unlocked without doing that boss fight, definitely hit us up. You can find us on pretty much all the social media locations with the following handle. It's at NWG Podcast. That's at NWG Podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, I think on X as well. And you can always hit us up via email if you're a little bit more old school, a little OG. We are ovoxandchuk at gmail.com. That's OVOXANDCHUK at gmail.com. And if you like this shit, drop us a 5-star rating and a dope-ass review on whatever you listen to podcasts on, and that'd be super awesome because it helps us with that algorithm and it gets us out there to more gamers.
Yeah.
Chuck, dude, that was fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make myself invisible.
All right, I'm gonna go cry in a corner. Adios.
Hey, later, folks.